Hello everyone and welcome to the Gunpla Network. I'm the Spicer, and today's unboxing and review of the figurized bust Athrun Zala comes to you courtesy of those fine folks over at Canadian Gundam. Canadian Gundam is your one-stop shop for all things Plamo and Gunpla here in North America. With flat rate shipping to the US and Canada, a private warehouse option, and a vast catalog that's restocked regularly, they're going to have just about anything you're looking for. When you're checking that vast catalog and placing your next order, don't forget to use the promo code Gunpla Network to save yourself 10% off. So, as I said, this is an unboxing as well as a review, and largely because this is pretty basic. It doesn't come with a lot in the box, a surprising number of runners, but a lot of them are individual pieces, so it's not too crazy. You do get some of that nice real grade Ava tech with multiple colors on one piece on one runner for the eyes and I believe the face, which is pretty cool. I'm glad to see that here. Love to see more of that tech everywhere, but it's here and it's nice. You also get a manual as well as the name tag sticker and all the insignias and badges and everything for Athrun's uniform. Now once you get them all put together, it's kind of impressive for a little thing. Like, it's not very big. You'll see some size comparisons in a moment. But the stickers were pleasantly surprising. Like, outside of my screwed up fitting on the collar, everything was pretty good, especially on video. In person, the insignias on the shoulders are a little light, so they could have went a kind of heavier yellow or maybe made that part of the plastic yellow. I don't know. But they do kind of show some of the black underneath, whereas the badge or rank thing on Athrun's actual uniform actually looks pretty good. Now outside of that, the face and the eyes do look pretty good. It would have been nice to get some shading on like the lips or the nose, just to kind of distinguish it from the rest of the face, but at this size and price point, you're really not asking for too much here, so it's not that big of a deal. The hair looks good, and unfortunately is the one place you're probably going to find nub marks. But that being said, the rest of it's actually pretty well engineered in that regard. The base does have nub marks on the sides and back, but the idea is that this is either going to be just Athrun, which you're not going to see too many visible nub marks or seam lines in some angles, or you're going to have this on the front of a display where you're really not seeing the sides or the back, so it's pretty well thought out. Now, outside of its aesthetics, obviously there's no real articulation, but it does give you the option. You've got like an extra little peg in there. If you decide to add this onto an existing Bandai stand of any sort, you can just plug it right in. You don't need the base it comes with, but the base it comes with does have an attachment on the back for the little like coupler unit thing that all the Bandai stands come with to like link the different hexagons. So if you wanted to actually just add this to a stand, you absolutely could. Now, in terms of its size, it's a pretty decent size, right? You can absolutely use it with high grades. So if you've got a bunch of 1144 stuff, either high grade or real grade, not too big of a deal there. Now, I would say, and this is a little easier with Athrun suits because they tend to be up in the air, you would probably want the high grades on a stand behind this because it is just big enough that it's going to take up a good portion of real estate, at least visually speaking, that the high grade would take up if it's just in a static standing pose. Now, if you decide to go a little bit bigger, say like the master grade Aegis here, that works just as well. Now you can absolutely stand this in front of it and it's not that big of a deal. It does take up a lot of the leg real estate from a visual standpoint, but it's not that much. It doesn't cover as much, I guess is the easy way to say that, as it does for the high grade. Now if you have these on stands, obviously it's going to be a little bit better for that, but if you decide, hey, I've just got a bunch of static standing Athrun suits or seed suits, you can absolutely just put it on there and it looks more than fine. Now if you do decide to move on to one of Athrun's other suits, say, the no grade 1/100 Savior Gundam, it still looks pretty good. Now, of course, if you've seen the review of the Savior, you know it's a little smaller than the Master Grades from Athrun suits. So this is gonna kind of tread the line of, it's still not too much of the suit being covered if it's just sitting in front of the standing suit, but it is a little bit more present here. Like, it's just going to take up more of that visual real estate. So, once again, doesn't look bad by any means. And I think, like, if you just have these static posed is fine. If they're up in the air, obviously this becomes even less of an issue. But this was kind of the one place where I was like, this might be an issue, so I should let people know. Whereas you can kind of just picture what this looks like on a stand, right? It's going to take up that weird blank space that the like actual arms holding up the kit would exist in. And last and most definitely not least, the Infinite Justice Gundam. And once again, the Master Grade being bigger than the Savior, it looks great. Like, pure just static standing poses. Wonderful. It's not going to take up a ton of space. If you do throw this up on a stand, it's not going to be too bad. I would say there's one caveat with the Infinite Justice and the Justice in this regard. Largely because of like how their stand adapters work. They tend to sit higher in the air, which I know sounds kind of weird because I don't think either of them, or at least the Infinite Justice doesn't. The stand adapter is like not in the waist like a lot of suits are. That being said, because of the design, because like the kicking, especially at the Infinite Justice, at least personally, I found it looks better if it is higher up on a stand. So this may end up coming off a little small if you do that. But the Aegis probably isn't going to have too much of that issue. The Savior's really not going to have too much of that issue. And depending on how you pose the Justice and Infinite Justice, they may not have that issue either. But overall, I'm very pleased with this. I think this is a cool addition. I really wish we would have got more of these. Like, it'd be cool just to have like a pilot uniform version of this. Even if that was P Bandai, that'd be kind of neat. But honestly, if Bandai comes out and just gives us figure-right standard versions of our favorite pilots in both their uniforms and pilot suits, I'm happy, right? I do think this works a little better for that, but regardless, just give us pilots. Please, Bandai. Please. You did it with Luna Maria, and I know it's, you know, a girl and you're trying to please certain audiences and whatnot, but come on, like, Gundam fans are definitely not going to sit here and be like, I definitely don't want an Amuro or a Char in figurized standard. People are going to buy that up. I mean, it's just, you're expanding that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. My ramble's kind of over in that regard. But thanks for sticking with me, guys. If you have this or you're on the fence and have some questions, pop them down in the comments below. I'll do my absolute best to answer them. And as always, do your best to stay safe and keep on building.